Okay, so now let's talk about MVP, minimum viable product. So first of all, let's understand the difference between, both of them. That what is the basic difference? See, we need to understand that a prototype is a very premature or very preliminary version or model of any product. As the example I have given you of that robot, right? It was a prototype because it was doing just couple of things, giving us the coffee, giving us the water or tea, right? While MVP is a fully functional version, almost the final product, but before finishing and everything, and with the core features necessary to launch. For an example, that in context of that robot, because in their list of function it includes everything that this robot in future can do mopping, can do cleaning, can do deep cleaning, can do dishes, can do car parking and so many things. The prototype which we have seen, it was only giving us water. So now let's assume that there is an MVP of that robot, then it would ended up by doing maybe couple of things related to mopping and sweeping as well, couple of things related to driving as well, so that the customer would have a fair idea that what finally I would get it. So this is the basic difference, right? So solve the core problem for a specific group. This is the characteristics I'm reading about of an MVP. Solves a core problem for a specific group, contains only essential features, as I discussed, right? And then build quickly and cost effectively, obviously because of the obvious reasons, and then use for market validation and learning, and given to the people, or for given to the people experience, user experience, so that you know uh, we can have some understanding, or entrepreneurs can have understanding of their own product. Now, what are the steps? Identify the core problem. Again, we started our chapter with the same thing. Identify the core problem. What is the user's main pain point? And then define success metrics, right? That what happens that if it is a website, then how many signups do we have? If there is a product, then how many sales, or conversions, what would be the conversions from interest or lead to the final sales, so we have to define some success metrics around it, and then map out core features, prioritize must have functionalities. For an example, again, मैं आपको वो रोबोट वाला एग्जांपल देता हूँ। मैंने देखा, सिर्फ उसने मेरे को पानी दिया, वो प्रोटोटाइप था। अगर मैं एक पोटेंशियल बायर हूँ, तो जो अगर उन्होंने 10 चीज़ें डिफाइन करी हैं उस रोबोट के बारे में कि वो सफाई भी करता है, वो खाना भी बना सकता है, वो डीप क्लीनिंग भी कर सकता है, वो डस्टिंग भी कर सकता है, पानी भी दे सकता है, आपके पेट्स को भी देखभाल कर सकता है, तो मैं चाहूँगा कि उसमें से एटलीस्ट 70 टू 80% चीज़ें वो करता हो, जो प्रोडक्ट मैं एमवीपी में यूज़ कर रहा हूँ, तो वो मेरे लिए कोर फीचर्स हो गए, अंडरस्टैंड? सो वी नीड टू प्रायोरिटाइज़ दैट व्हाट आर द must have functionalities, and then fast lean development and agile. Sorry, there are an example I have mentioned that using agile and scrum, you can create a fast lean development, build the MVP. So when we build an MVP, it is very very important for us that how quickly we are doing it, for sure. But another part is that even the product is not finished, but it should not look like that we are lacking something. That's the very tricky part. Very tricky part, right? Because as an user, see, you cannot afford to have a lot of mistakes in MVP. Please understand that. As an entrepreneur, whatever you are going to do, whatever kind of business you are getting into, you need to understand that when you get into the MVP partner, it should not lack 90%. It could lack 5%, 10%, it's okay, but the percentage should not be reversed, right? Because at that time you will lose your potential customers and the trust. So it cannot, completely looks like that it's a gimmicky thing. No, it should have at least 70 to 80% of features what you claim that your final product would have. It should have 60 to 70% of overall characteristics of your product, so that they would able to understand consumer. When I say they, it means consumer able to understand that the product which we are going to consume is on similar grounds, and okay, means if we'll validate this MVP, it means that we will get something good, right? And then real users and real world testing, that's very important. So this is what I was talking about, that when you go to the real users and real world testing, then you have to be very careful about these things. Iteration and pivot, you have to be ready for that any given point of time, right? Because when you start receiving data and when you start receiving people's feedback, then it is very, very important for you to understand that. Now let look at an example. This is the Apple computer MVP, right? They have built it at that time. See, wooden blocks and keyboards, and so this so it must have the functionalities, but in look and feel, it is not what exactly Apple used to look like during their first launch. But the idea was very simple, that machine we could physically, we can do it better. But all the characteristics of a computer, yes, you can take a look that it's better, or it's 60-70% what we are claiming, or more than that. So this is just one example of MVP model, right? And then what all types of MVPs. First is concierge MVP. When we say concierge MVP, it means instead of building any software, you manually provide service to few users, right? What is your goal? Validate to core value proposition with minimal tech investment. It is usually happens in a. I have mentioned one example, travel planning services, because I have done a project in 2016 for an organization called Adventure Breezes. It was a startup, and eventually they started up and they have merged with some other organization after a couple of years. So I was doing a project for them. And during that project, when the couple of travel itineraries we have created it manually, right? And based upon the customer's requirement, right? And sometimes what we used to do on-demand changes as well for the couple of itineraries we used to do that. So so yes, obviously it is fast, as it we have mentioned that the pros are it is fast and cheap and deep customer insights from close interaction. Obviously, because when we used to do the customization, when we used to make changes on the real time basis, people used to call me, and I was on the call and we need to hear it, and we used to done that. Obviously, it was not scalable, because how would it possible that you are individually calling to people, taking their calls and making changes to the things? It's not possible. Practically, it's not possible. So obviously, it's one thing, and then it was time consuming. Yes, very, very time consuming. But the idea is that it was a concierge MVP, and we did not build any complete software or app or website at that time, right? We just created a landing pages whenever somebody used to come to the Adventure BG site at that time. So it was just showing that yes, we are open and we have a couple of facilities, and they have to click and then take to somewhere else. And so why we do concierge MVP? For high touch services and early customer validation. Obviously, because if I'm talking to the customer one on one very quickly, interaction is closed, then the validation can also be very fast. And then we'll talk about the landing pages that I was talking about, what I did for Adventure Breezes. So it's a single web page that explain your product and includes, CT. So what happens in single web page is that, for an example, I'm creating a company by, you know, Gagan Systems, right? So it's a computer system company. So when you go to the Gagan Systems, you will see that just one page, nicely done, and you can mention that our product are coming soon, uh, to register, or to gain some extra discount or early bird discount. You can register here or buy now, or so when you once you do that, so as an entrepreneur, I'll get to know, okay, these people are interested, they are might be my potential buyers, right? So I'll just, keep contacting them or following up them. So test market interest and messaging before building anything. Yeah. So it was just like that, creating awareness that yes, our product is like this and it is coming. And if you are up for it, please sign up or buy now so that you can get into discounts or whatever. So at least as an entrepreneur, you should have an idea. Okay. So, people are interested, and then you can maybe go ahead and provide your services to them later on. So Pros, yes, obviously super quick to build. It's just a 1 hour thing, and then easily test different value propositions and messaging. Obviously, it is very easy to do that. The cons are doesn't prove people will use the product. Obviously, see sometimes what happens that you will scrolling the Instagram, you are lazy in the afternoon and you just see something, you feel like okay, let's do it, and you click it, it goes there. So for the entrepreneur, it is like, okay, it's a potential buyer, but you did it out of no intention. You just did it. So, this is the consequence of that. And then no product functionality to test. You do not have any product, you do not have any feature, you do not have any service to. It is just that you are awareing, or, creating awareness about your organization rather a product, because there is no definition of that and there is no functionality to test as well. So it's just a landing page MVP, right? And this is best for understand market demand. Obviously, that today, if into an X market area, if I'm launching these glasses, and I could see that there are 100 people have seen my advertisement, and out of 190 people click. So it means that there might be might be a chance for me. That is landing page MVP. And then functional MVP, a working but stripped down version of the product which have only core features like the Apple computer I have shown. Validate whether people will actually use your product. Basic version of task manager. Couple of tasks you can do. And this usually happen for the physical products as well. That at least it has some core features. People can, touch it, feel it, and they understand that what this product do. And same for any virtual product as well. Maybe your application or your e-commerce site or something, that okay, you can, you know, they can select a article and then move it one place to another to third, and then it goes to the cart, and then they can pay. So these things can be managed during the functional MVP. It increase the interaction, you know, of user with the real product. Obviously, it does that, and that's the main pro of this functional MVP. Product. Why? Because user interact with the real product at that point of time. They are buying something, they're getting into the cart, then they go to checkout. So it's obviously, see, now if you use Amazon, you'll see that if you're finding out something like these glasses, then there are other 10 options are always there. Similar like that. You click on similar like that, then you'll get 10 options. So now imagine that Amazon website is doing the functional MVP. So how would they do? You can go, you can buy these glasses for sure, but maybe that option is still not activated, wherein you can find out 10 more like that. Just for an example, I'm telling you this. And great for testing the user interface and retention. Obviously, if people are using your website and still there for some time, it means that yes, they are liking your interface, and you are able to retain people on that page. And same goes for the physical product as well. Right? Takes more time and resources than any, obviously, because see, if you will, it's more like that you have invested something already so that people can go and experience it. And and we can do so many things. Again, यहाँ पे जो मैंने लिखा है कि can be overbuilt if not careful, ये वही चीज है कि आप अंडर प्राइस भी नहीं कर सकते, ओवर प्राइस भी नहीं कर सकते, बैलेंस। कई बार क्या होता है, हम एक्साइटमेंट में ज्यादा कुछ दिखा देते हैं, तो कंज्यूमर कहते हैं इसकी जरूरत ही नहीं है, कंफ्यूज हो रहा है, वो भी नहीं करना, है ना? तो इन चीजों का ध्यान हमको रखना होता है। Best for testing product and usage and retention. That's the main idea. of functional MVP. That's the main idea. So now we will read about the types of prototyping tools, right? अभी हमने क्या डिस्कस किया था? एक बार मैं वापस जाता हूँ. Quickly, let's recap this. That we have discussed about the prototyping, and then we have discussed about the MVP, and then we have discussed about types of MVP, right? Concierge MVP, we have discussed about the landing page MVP, and we have discussed about the functional MVP.